This is the BODAR Blast by the USS Decatur, with your host, Lieutenant Junior Grade Daniel Ehrlich. All views expressed on this show are not those of the United States Navy and made by the individuals who are on the show. All music used is used with the permission of the songwriter or is royalty-free. This is a feature production of the USS Decatur and is made free to use and free for all the families and supporters of the USS Decatur DDG 73. Old and daring. And welcome to the BODAR Blast. I am Lieutenant Junior Grade Daniel Ehrlich. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. It is a new week and it's been a busy week on board USS Decatur, so I'm very excited to tell you all about it. First, we had a lot of New Year's celebrations on board. Thank you to the MWR. Chief Estrada, once again, with his team, having some awesome events. And we have been very busy. We had a little bit of a raffle. We had a party for New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. I was on watch for that, unfortunately. But we also had the midnight entry, which hopefully you'll see soon enough, from Lieutenant Junior Grade Navarro. So a very common tradition in the Navy is on New Year's Day, every day, there is a midnight entry into the deck log. And the deck log is a legal log for the ship that talks about different things that are happening on board and the status of the ship and all of that. But the tradition is that on New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, the midnight log for New Year's Day is a poem about the past year on Decatur in a rhyming kind of fashion. And there's a competition for the best poem, or I would say poetic, deck log midnight entry for New Year's Day. So Lieutenant Junior Grade Navarro was the one that provided the deck log entry, and his entry will be submitted into the competition, which is a Navy-wide competition, and we wish him best of luck. Really awesome that he gets to compete for that and do the midnight log entry. Pretty awesome starting a new year on the bridge, personally. Very interesting, kind of looking back and thinking last year I was in San Diego and this year I'm underway on USS Decatur on the bridge, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere else except with this family. I'm super happy to be out here with everyone. Speaking of family, we wish all the families back at home happy holidays and a wonderful new year. You guys are a little bit behind us, but it should be 2023 by now when you're listening to this. Your sailors have been super busy. We've had some amazing events going on, from gun shoots to different exercises that we've been staying very busy. We're looking forward to the next few months, and everybody's been super busy. Huge props to our supply team for continuing to supply some amazing meals. The snacks keep flowing in the ship store, which let me tell you, is a very important facet to being underway, is the ship store having supplies of everything, because once the monsters start going out, or once the energy drinks start going out, it's a bad time. It's a real bad time. So, wonderful new year. It's been awesome. My whole what's up with that this week actually is just about the schedule. It's just been very fluid. Can't really say more than that, but it's just been very flexible. And you know, it's hard having different events change throughout the day and not knowing what's when. So if the schedule would balance out a little bit, maybe I would feel a little bit more into a routine. But the one thing that gets us into a routine is on our plan of the day. Every day we have a plan of the day for everybody at home that isn't really keyed in on this. It's basically a schedule for the entire day of everything going on the ship, and then tomorrow as well. A bunch of notes and stuff like that on it as well, contact information for major points of contact, that kind of thing. Well, on the back, it's always been a tradition on Decatur to have a meme, and I would say that Lieutenant Junior Grade Demungus, who's been writing and coordinating the plans of the day recently, his memes have been absolute fire. So Chris, one of my junior officer buddies, really, really awesome memes, keeping everybody really motivated, have a good laugh every day at the meme. So Just awesome motivation. Speaking of motivating, our guest this week on the BODAR Blast is probably one of the most motivating individuals you'll meet on USS Decatur. If you've come on board and haven't met Gunner's Mate First Class Charlie Harper, you're missing out. An amazing story, guy that went through SEAL school, had issues in SEAL school with medical issues, went through some of the toughest programs in the surface Navy side of things as far as survival training, weapons training, tactics training. He's been everywhere. He's been around the block. And when you talk about a leader that cares about his people, that cares about Decatur, you're talking about GM1 Charlie Harper. I'm super glad that you'll be able to hear this interview today from him. Super glad that he's our first interview of 2023. And without further ado, GM1 Harper. And I'm here with GM1 Charlie Harper. He's joining me as our second guest on the BODAR Blast. GM1, how are you doing tonight? And thank you for joining me.
I'm doing good. Had a long day, but managed to get everything in, so feeling pretty good.
So, long day for you. What does a day for you consist of? What's being a GM like?
It really depends. GMs can pretty much do anything. Calls jacks of all trades, master of none. And then the finish for that is better than a specialist at one. So we do anything from basically plumbing and magazine springs to ordnance handling to weapons specialization to, right now I'm working on a surface. I'm actually learning some stuff out of pocket with undersea warfare and navigation. So it's a really broad spectrum as far as like what you can specialize in or what you can do.
So what one you started in spec warfare, or you actually have a background in spec warfare.
Mm-hmm.
What got you into becoming a gunner's mate originally in the Navy?
So originally I had a GED. So at the time when I went to join, I couldn't come in on an active duty contract. So I had to join the reserves, and I went to boot camp in the reserves. I did a couple of years in the reserves, finally qualified for SEAL candidate training. And the caveat to that was I had to go to active duty boot camp. So I actually went to boot camp twice. And I came in as the second special warfare class to go through the BUDS prep program. SEALs had just become their own rating. And so made it through BUDS prep, got out to San Diego. Was doing pretty decent, got injured, and I got rolled. And then during my time in PTRR, they call it physical therapy, rest and recovery, just kind of decided that maybe this wasn't the right path for me, so decided to drop out of the program. And they presented me with a list of rates. So originally I tried to reclass as a CTI, and you have to do something called a DLAB, Dynamic Language Aptitude Battery, and I didn't qualify for that. So the next thing on the list was gunner's mate. I knew didn't want to be a bosun mate, didn't want to be a CS. Gunner's mate had guns in it. I figured it was kind of a good compromise from the BUDS route, and so checked it out. Ended up going to Great Lakes. And finishing GMA school and rating out as a GM. But that's what got me into it. And then the more that I did the job, the more I fell in love with it, the more I realized that it was more in line with my skill set and my mindset.
So you talked about being jack of all trades, master of none. You kind of are that on Decatur. You do a lot on Decatur. You are a SISWI, you're a SAMI. Tell the people at home what kind of your jobs are on board. Like, what do you do on board? What is a SISWI? What is a SAMI?
So, SAMI is Small Arms Marksmanship Instructor, so that's everything from the M500 shotgun to the M4 or the M9 pistol, and eventually the SIGs when we get those. Then crew serve weapons is pretty much everything from 50 cal up all the way to grenade launchers. So my job is to introduce the sailors to these weapons in a safe and controlled environment and get them comfortable with them, and then eventually build them up to doing live fire. And then once they are comfortable with doing live fire, to actually stress them out to simulate firing the weapon in combat situations. So like Sunday we did a cruiser weapon shoot. So we walked them through firing the 50 cal machine gun, doing some rhythm fire, then some speed reloads, and then eventually changing out white hot barrel safely to make sure that they don't burn themselves, and they can actually change the barrel in a quick and safe manner without burning themselves. So that then once that's done, it's just making sure that the quals are properly recorded and then annotated so that we can keep track of who should be handling these weapons.
You're also one of the leaders of our security teams on board, and also one of our Mount 5-1 captains. So talk to me about kind of those jobs as well.
So as far as the security team stuff, I'm the security team lead for the visit board search and seizure team. So my job is to go out on the rib these days, do compliant boarding, so actually go on board vessels that we vetted out, do a security sweep to make sure that everything is on the up and up. It's safe for my team to come on board, and then to continue to do a proper search of the ship for unidentified personnel, potentially contraband, and make sure that they're not smuggling weapons or personnel, potentially people of interest that maybe are wanted by Interpol or some foreign country. Then Mount Captain, I'm the lead 5-inch tech on board. I started out here 2018. I've been here going on 5 years, running a 5-inch. Put probably about 1,000 rounds through the barrel. Our 5-inch gun is actually for the whole West Coast the longest standing 5-inch with the most rounds put through it. We call it best in the West. And as Mount Captain, I have my deep mag crew. So about the gun, most people see it on the surface on the forecastle, but it actually goes 4 levels deep all the way down basically into the bellies of the beast, where we have a bunch of magazines, where we have powders that weigh 40 pounds and then projectiles that weigh 70 pounds. So the whole cartridge that we shoot weighs about 110 pounds. So needless to say, that's a lot for one person to do by themselves. So we usually have like teams of 4 down there. Make sure that the people down there are properly trained to load the rounds up correctly in accordance with what was ordered. Then they send it up the level. There, the job of Mount Captain becomes a little bit more important. I have my panel operator, who's communicating with the actual fire controlman, who is at a separate console. And our job is essentially to make sure that weapon fires is necessary. If there's some kind of stoppage, we actually make sure that the gun continues to fire. So during NSFS, for instance, we were firing a lot of rounds. Equipment being what it is, had a stoppage, and one of our switches fell out of proximity. So we were able to qualify the gun with 10 minutes left to spare by manually taking the rounds out and then putting them back into the system and then stepping them over to the hoist and then sending them up, because it would no longer automatically do that. And we were able to do that fast enough with our remaining shots to qualify and prevent the ship from delaying and certifying. It's one of the things I'm most proud of with the 5-inch.
So not exactly point and shoot, right?
No, there's a lot of moving parts. I mean, a lot of moving parts designed by a bunch of people way smarter than I am. I just they dumbed it down enough to where I can lead my crew and who can get the job done. So take the ship out and fight.
So for visit board search and seizure, I'm sure a lot of people at home are probably thinking like Captain Phillips, right? What kind of got you into that mission set, and what's it like building that team?
So, even though I didn't finish SEAL candidacy and become a SEAL, it wasn't like a waste of time by any means. I don't regret it. I learned a lot of lessons, like the bit of mental toughness that I got from it has definitely carried over to this, and definitely impressed upon me that professionals are made by repetition and willingness to do things. It's not like all high speed, low drag. It's a lot of reps and sets over and over and over again, kind of like a basketball player gets good at free throws by shooting thousands of free throws. They shoot until they're sick of them. It's the same thing with VBSS, so wasn't really disillusioned with the training. And when I got to the ship and I found out that that was a thing you could do, I was interested in it from the very beginning. Like from the second that I started shooting as a gunner's mate, I always wanted to advance my training with it. Funny thing is, before I joined the Navy, I actually hated guns. Like I saw it as like kind of a crutch. And that's because I didn't really understand them. But the more training that I got, the more that I saw it was almost like any other martial arts, because there's a lot of hand-eye coordination, a lot of technique that if you screw it up, shots deviate wildly. Like you can almost be in the same room as somebody and miss them completely if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have that muscle memory. But anyway, had heard about it a little bit. Got some stories from some of my chief mentors in Great Lakes talking about doing boardings, and I knew it was something that I was interested in doing. And then I went to Surf Bravo, got pepper sprayed, got to fight the Red Man. I was like, all right, give me some more. So I went to something called Security Reaction Force Advanced, which is a little bit more advanced training, and we really started getting in the weeds on tactical team movements and teamwork, and I liked that even more. And VBSS was kind of the last step on that ladder back in like 2010. So I tested out, got rigged up in my gear, did my ladder climb, qualified for it, and then got shipped out to Honolulu to go train for a month with some more SEAL instructors, the Wolf Brothers out of Honolulu. There we did a lot more live fire training. It's that repetition that I was talking about. So we set up in a lot of kill houses and ran our tactics. We learned a lot of medical stuff. So a lot of combat medicine. So learned how to stop like bullet wounds in a situation, provide self-care. Learned how to peel out in the face of like fierce opposing fire. It was just the more I got into, the more interesting it was.
So it sounds like a lot of tough moments that you've been through BUDS, and then through kind of your training, becoming kind of an instructor in multiple situations. What has kind of gotten you through those moments? You have an awesome story. You've been through so much, a lot of stuff that you can't talk about here. But what kind of gets you through those moments?
It's really just, for me, I'd say it's my family. It's always my family. It's been kind of the lineage. I don't feel like I have any right to complain about how hard I have it. When I think about like my grandfather was 15, and he was big enough to pass, and he enlisted in the Navy during World War II, and he deployed on the USS Dawson from Pearl Harbor to Okinawa, and he was still just a kid, and he got through it. And then my stepfather, he was a corpsman in the Navy, and he rode in helos as a machine gunner. And unfortunately, he had a heart issue that ended up getting him medically retired. But he would always talk about his time in the Navy, and he always sucked it up and worked up until he passed away. Then my cousin, who he's a commander. He's almost 30 years in his career. He joined in 1992, and then the other men in my family are just tough. And I just never felt like complaining about it or backing out. Backing out for the wrong reasons was an option. I always felt like it was kind of expected to be strong. Like, it was never said, but it was just an expectation that I should be strong. And then eventually I met my wife, and then it went from like not just an expectation but a requirement. And then I had my sons, and like it went from an expectation, a requirement, and then a duty to set an example for them, because I know how important it was to have the examples of like my grandfather, my stepfather, my cousin. Like, these guys, like, in my mind, were larger than life characters, and having known them personally, like, there was a lot of credibility. Like, it's almost like Tall Tales. They talk about John Henry as being this guy that could beat a railroad, or Paul Bunyan. Like, these guys, I had these larger than life characters in my life that I always chased after and wanted to live up to. And I'm trying to set that same example for my son, because I already know, like, he's going to surpass me. And I just feel like dedicated to living up to that. No matter what, like, whatever I'm going through doesn't matter, as long as my kid gets something out of it.
Yeah, and you have a really close bond to your family from what I've seen too, and it's just, I want to be a dad just like you, because you just have so much love for your family. Do you want to shout out your family right now?
Oh, absolutely. Stephanie, miss you. Think about you every day. I'm happy that we met on a destroyer, because I definitely get nostalgia when I look around here. I could see a spot on the mess decks where I saw you for the first time with your head down, and I was like, she's going to have a hard time. And then I didn't know the next day I was going to meet you. Charlie, I miss you, buddy. I'm so grateful that you got to come and do a tour of the ship and see where I'm at and know that I'm okay. I was bragging about you the other day, wrecking the 50 cal. And Jack, happy birthday, buddy. I miss you.
So how old is your son, Jack?
Jack turned 3 on Christmas Eve. He's a Christmas Eve baby, so household we call him Jack Frost.
Aw, his birthday is one day after mine, so Happy birthday, Jack. I'm glad that we are, like, I wouldn't say birthday twins, but like one day apart, so that's awesome. Super awesome family. I've met your family. I wish them the best too. You showed them around the ship. You're also proud of your team on board Decatur. What are you most proud of about your guys and about the ship?
My guys are just hard. Like, there's several times where we're working long past the point where everybody else is left, and like, they understand the difference between a bad situation and then whining, and they can identify that, yeah, this is tough, but these guys will still be laughing, cracking jokes, not feeling sorry for themselves, understanding that the work's got to get done, what we're doing is important, and they just suck it up and they get it done. And no matter what, even if we're up to our eyeballs in our own work, if we say we're going to help somebody else out, none of them will complain about it. Some of them will volunteer. One of the things that I loved is one of my guys got told he could go home at like noon, just as like just kind of way to spread the wealth out and let people go home. And he's like, there's still work to be done, and he like didn't want to, like almost had to be forced to go home. That's the type of character that I think you don't see as much. There's a lot of work ethic and a lot of pride in what we do, and I'm just happy to witness it. I'm happy to see that that's still alive, because I don't think it gets recognized. I don't think it's recognized as often, and maybe it's just it doesn't get seen as often, but I'm very proud of my guys. I know that if anything pops off, these guys will fight, and we're all going to come home.
Yeah, and you guys are just such a tight team, and I love seeing it. I love working with you guys because we work in the same department. What's kind of your daily routine like when we're underway on deployment? What have kind of been your favorite moments?
I'm just now starting to get a routine. The routine is there's not really a routine. It really is just being prepared to pivot on a dime because of, just the nature of, the people who are out here get a vote in what our schedule is, because how they react is how we're going to react, so all the plans go out the window at that point. But when things are going the way that we expect, or as we plan, I took over as the departmental LPO, so typically get up at 3 a.m. to go stand and watch, get off at 6:30, go get my breakfast, get my cardio in, study for that next qualification. Then I'll rotate between my divisions and go do, basically check in with them, put out any information that they might need, or exchange information between the divisions on maybe things that they're doing good, or maybe things that they need improvement on, and just check on my guys, make sure that they're doing okay, making sure that everybody's got everything that they need. And after that, go ahead and take care of any work that needs to be done. So yesterday was a ranking board for my E5s to see how they fall out on evals, and then make our recommendation to Chief's Mess. Around 1400 or 9/11, go get my lunch. 1400, go back on watch, and then try and get some weightlifting in, and take care of any last minute business, any last minute meetings, and then get to bed and do it all over again.
And that's just how it is on deployment. I know I've kind of hit my stride. Kind of on a high note, on the end of this interview, of all of your career, you've been through SEAL school, you've been through the toughest schools in the Navy, you're a survival expert in the Navy. What is one thing you would never do again?
Go to mast and get busted down. I would say that was the hardest thing to bounce back from, is that was the hardest thing to bounce back from, is going from being an experienced first class to being technically a junior sailor again. It definitely humbled me, and definitely I was pretty dialed in before, but it took the last bit of complacency out of my career, or out of my mind. It really put things in to perspective, to feel like I let so many people down. So I definitely wouldn't let my team down again like that. I wouldn't let my team down like that again, because it's a 6-year setback. I could have done a lot more to help a lot of people out, and I was kind of just inert, and I had to prove myself again, and rightfully so. And now that I'm back in arm's reach, moving forward, I look forward to doing as much as I can for these guys and carrying them through. That's part of why I'm here right now. Like, a lot of people got told to extend. I volunteered to be here because I didn't want to leave behind my people, like, going into deployment.
Well, GM1, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you letting me interview you, and I'm sure everybody at home, including your family, is very happy to hear your voice and listen to your story. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. And that was our amazing Gunner's Mate First Class Charlie Harper. What a story, right? Well, I want to hear some of your stories from home. I want to hear what you guys have been doing so that we can tell our guys from your families on board what you've been doing. So share what you've been doing to our ombudsman. And while you have the chance to share what you're doing, also kind of ask a few questions. I would love to continue to answer questions. I would love to do a question and answer segment at the beginning of these podcasts, but we can't do a question and answer segment without questions from you guys. So please send in questions to Miss Kelly Sleesman, our ombudsman, and she will pass them on to me, and I'll answer them as best as I can, or I'll bring on a guest that can answer those questions. So if you have specific questions about surface warfare areas or things about the ship, I would be happy to bring on guests. If you want to hear your own sailor on podcast, please let me know. commend it. I will reach out. It's only 500 feet of ship, so I promise I will get in contact with them. Again, Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for joining me on the BODAR Blast, and I will I'll probably be in contact with you guys in some way, sometime soon. So this is Lieutenant Junior Grade Daniel Ehrlich from the BODAR Blast. See you next time.